Welcome to another deep dive for Le Podcast de Philippe. Today we're really taking a look at a pretty concerning development in cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to explore how researchers actually figured out how to use AI. I mean, like really advanced models, things like ChatGPT, DeepSeek. They were able to make them generate real malware.
Wow.
Yeah. And not just any malware. We're talking about a program that steals passwords.
Oh, that's scary.
It is. We're going to unpack how they got around the safety protocols that are supposed to be in these AI systems, the things that are meant to prevent this sort of thing.
Right.
And then we'll get into the bigger picture. What does this mean for all of us? How safe is our digital information?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. And speaking of good questions, if you find this kind of deep dive, this kind of analysis interesting, do us a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers today, and your support really helps us make more content like this.
So where do we even begin with this whole AI malware thing?
Well, the starting point is a report that came out just recently on March 18th from a company called Cato Networks.
Okay.
Their research, it basically confirmed that AI chatbots, the ones we use every day, they're not just generating text, they can actually produce working malware.
So they're not just writing stories and poems, they can write code that actually does harm.
Exactly. And in this case, the malware they created is what's known as an info stealer.
An info stealer?
Yeah, basically, it's designed to steal your passwords.
I see.
Now, you'd think that these AI models, these really sophisticated systems, would have safeguards in place.
You would hope so.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
Like something to prevent them from creating harmful software.
Makes sense.
But the researchers at Cato Networks, they found a loophole. They developed this really clever technique that they've called Immersive World.
Immersive World. Sounds kind of ominous.
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah.
The way it works is, instead of just directly asking the AI to write code for malware, they create these like fictional scenarios, almost like stories.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And look, in these stories, designing malware is presented as something normal, something legitimate, like maybe it's part of an academic project, or even as a kind of digital art form.
So instead of saying write code to steal passwords, you're giving the AI a context where this kind of code is acceptable.
Exactly. It's like tricking the AI into thinking it's doing something harmless or even necessary to complete the task it's been given. And this immersive world technique, it worked. They used it to generate this password-stealing malware across several different AI platforms, not just one. We're talking ChatGPT, DeepSeek, even Microsoft's Copilot.
So it's not limited to just one AI. This is a more widespread issue.
It seems that way. And to make things even more concerning, the malware they generated, this AI-written info stealer, it actually worked.
They tested it.
They did. They ran it against simulations of Google's password managers, and it successfully extracted stored passwords. So the code wasn't just some theoretical exercise, it was the real deal.
That's pretty unsettling.
It is. One of the researchers at Cato Networks, Vitaly Simonovich, he was pretty vocal about his concerns. He pointed out that info stealers are like the bread and butter for a lot of cybercriminals. They're essential tools. And this new technique, it makes it that much easier for them to create these tools.
I mean, for people who aren't tech savvy, can you explain how these info stealers actually work in the real world? Like, how do they get on your computer?
Sure. They're often spread through things like phishing emails, those emails that try to trick you into clicking a link or opening an attachment.
Oh, yeah, I get those all the time.
We all do. So the info stealer might be disguised as something harmless, like a document or an image. But once you download it and open it, it goes to work in the background, extracting your sensitive information, including your passwords, usually from your browser's password manager.
So it's like a thief sneaking into your house while you're asleep.
Exactly. Now, to their credit, Cato Networks, after they made this discovery, they reported it to the companies behind these AI models. They contacted DeepSeek, Microsoft, OpenAI. Well, here's the interesting part. Only Microsoft responded. Google was also informed. Cato Networks even offered them the malware code for analysis, but they declined. And DeepSeek, crickets. No response at all.
That's a little concerning, to say the least.
It is. And it kind of brings us to the bigger point here. This whole situation highlights a potential weakness in how we're approaching AI safety.
What do you mean?
Well, we assume that these AI systems have safeguards, right?
Right.
But clearly, those safeguards aren't foolproof. This immersive world technique, It's just one example of how those barriers can be bypassed.
So it's like a security system with a back door.
Exactly. And that raises some really fundamental questions. How secure are these AI systems really? And how do we prevent them from being misused, especially in cyber attacks? I mean, if AI can be used to create password-stealing software, what's next?
It's a bit of a Pandora's box, isn't it?
It is. And for all of you listening to Le Podcast de Philippe, that's what we wanted to highlight today. This isn't just some abstract tech issue. It has real implications for everyone who uses the internet. If AI can be used to create these kinds of malicious tools, we all need to be more vigilant, more aware of the threats out there.
Absolutely.
This isn't just a problem for the people developing AI, it's a problem for all of us. And it leads to an even bigger question, a question we need to think about as AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives. How do we ensure that this powerful technology isn't turned against us?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, and it's a question we all need to be asking.